Hi, everybody. It's Laura with C'est La Vie, and welcome back to C'est La Vie, the podcast. And this is a podcast about the making of our web series, C'est La Vie. And so if you've reached this point in the podcast, either this is the first episode you're listening to, or you've been watching the podcast on YouTube or listening to the podcast on a podcast streamer, but you haven't seen the show, I encourage you, because by the point that you get to this podcast dropping, definitely the show has been dropped. So I encourage you to go back, watch the show. The things we talk about will be so much more insightful if you see the episodes. Anyways, I am here today with an interview to talk about marketing. And I am here to interview Dee Ivett of 5D Spectrum.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you, because you were actually a very important part to our shoot. It was more than just talking to you about marketing. You provided us a very needed location, and you were gracious enough to let us come in and invade your space.
and so, that you did.
And that we did. It
yes,
was not
every inch of the office, I think.
Yes, I think we literally filmed in every room except your one room that
one
had
office.
The one office, because that was a diligent person working.
She was working.
Yes, but you let us invade your office to the point where we removed your furnishings.
Yes.
We took and moved your computer, everything.
Yes.
We used your desk as...
it was transformed.
It was transformed into a doctor's office.
Yeah.
So that's why people should go back and watch episode 2, because that's literally Dee's office, but we made it look like a doctor's office. I think we did a pretty good job.
Oh, you did a great job.
Yeah, and then we did the front entrance to that is your front entrance, mm-hmm. and then we filmed a couple more episodes where Kate is at her office or mm-hmm. where she works, and we filmed in those rooms. Actually, we never filmed in this room because this room was our holding room.
It's our green room.
It was our green room.
Yeah.
So we just decided we needed to film in it. So here
exactly.
we are today.
Exactly.
But so you were a big part of that. But we got to know each other through a women's group.
Correct.
That Renata and I started.
That's right.
And called Lift, Ladies in Film and Television. So if you're interested, look up Lift, reach out. Hopefully, I don't know if Renata's started a website for it yet, but you definitely can find Vinci Productions. You can find our website. You can find our Instagram. You can find the Cinematic Scribe. You can find the C'est La Vie website. Any of those are possible ways to get in contact with us. So if you're in film and television and you're female identifying, then get a hold of us.
Yeah,
and you're interested. But we did start that group, and we met you through a longtime friend of ours, Karen.
Correct. And her and I were regrouping last year, and she said, I'm part of this group. I think you would really love it. And I said, that's not really what I do. But then I thought, I've always been wanting to expand back into television production. I did a little bit of commercial work back in the 90s on the Apple computer commercials for BBDO. So I was like, exciting times, and how do I pivot a little bit more back into production?
Yeah, and plus you've done some work with marketing for some documentaries and films, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And so that's sort of, in our group, that's kind of the specialty you're bringing to it. We don't know. You may end up making your own film or something, and we'll all be there to help.
Yeah, we might be working on one.
Oh, well, there you go. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So you'll have to let me know. Let me know what I can do.
Yeah.
But so in the midst of that, you did decide to hop on and join the group, and then it seemed like it's like in the group, it's very interesting because we have people from different parts of the industry that normally may not be part of a creative group like this. Like if you look at like women in film and television and all these other groups that used to be out there, a lot of them were like you were the director or you were a cinematographer or but we have a group that includes attorneys.
It's much more well-rounded, and
because you need all the parts.
You do. Yeah.
Because one of the biggest problems for filmmakers on their own is they will figure out how to write something or get something that's written, it's easy to get actors in reality. There's plenty of people out there that want to act. And then you have people that will usually want to direct, or you can hire crew if you don't have crew that wants to jump on for free, and you can get it made. And
then what?
It's made.
And then that's where I come in.
Right.
But actually, we actually like to start earlier with development. So, for example, the documentary you mentioned, we were actually working with KT, who's also in our group,
Right.
Before the film was completely finished, because they were planning for their full release. So marketing included everything from the posters that go in at the theaters, and all of the marketing collateral, from postcards to online digital advertising. We did a lot of print advertising. So we would develop an ad campaign and then break it out into 5 or 6 different sizes of ads for different publications around the country. So those vary from publication to publication, and it's a lot of work to get all those things ready and rolling out at the proper time.
Right. And when the industry gets, on the creative side of the industry, you have all these people that sometimes are, perplexed with, why does the studio make all this money, and why, this person wrote it, this person. And I agree. I do believe the creatives are paid less than they are worth in the grand scheme of the total of profits at the end. There should be more profit sharing. But in reality, the thing that the studio brings is that's how your film or movie is usually getting out there. And that's a lot of dollars on them to put it out and get the marketing, and to get people to see it and get it in theater. So that's a big project.
Yeah.
But a small project like ours, well, now we can self-release, sure, YouTube, TikTok, but what does that mean? It doesn't mean people's eyes.
Right.
Just because it exists on the internet does not mean people will find it.
Yeah.
And you can obviously go the route of contest film festivals. Web series can go, like an episode can go in as a short, but that also doesn't necessarily mean a big boost of anything coming off that. So unless you're lucky enough to have a film that you can get into somewhere really big, where you're really going to find some platform is there to buy product. And unfortunately, those are often still already made by people who already have an in the business.
Right.
So when you talk about Sundance winners, Cannes winners, all these things that you think are smaller films, they're not. They're actually already being made by people that have some sort of budget and some sort of backing to push them.
Yeah.
Or a way to market them. Right? So
exactly.
So small films or web series need some sort of marketing plan.
They do. Just like in my primary business is web development, but if you don't build a marketing strategy into your plan for launching your website and taking it to market, it's the if they build it, they will come is not true.
No.
Not true for film either.
No, because even we don't do a lot of marketing. We didn't do a lot of marketing when we first launched the Vinci website. And that wasn't because we didn't think we needed to. It was because at the moment we knew we had our sights set on getting some things completed before we bothered to really make it hot. But this way it was like, okay, we can build the site and have a place to land stuff. Right. And if people were looking for us, they could find it. They could know who we are.
Yeah.
So our name would come up if people wanted to Google who we were.
Exactly. And that becomes your calling card until you have content. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think for a smaller filmmaker, do you suggest that they build a website for their product?
I do. Unless it's going to be housed in another website that has associated, or affiliated product properties. Having your own landing page, and especially with a URL that matches your product. So you have a production company, but you also have a product. And having a URL that matches your product gives you added value in search engine results. Mm-hmm. So there's actually an advantage. So a lot of times you'll see The major studios will release a movie, and they always have the name of the property movie, and they'll have a unique URL for each one, and it still gets linked to, from their main property, but having that landing page, it's like a microsite.
Yeah. And so even if it's just something as them either building a page themselves or getting somebody to do it, and which if you're talking a one-page website, we're not talking an arm and a leg to build it.
And there's a lot of, do-it-yourself tools out there for small websites like that.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for people with even minimum technical skills to launch a landing page for a property or a project. So,
and you're probably best to buy the URL. I know people who do, like, let's say something like Wix, and they will have the name of their series abc.wix.com. I don't have a problem seeing that in terms of, okay, well, then I see that they're using a free website. But if you would just go ahead and buy the URL and pay for the website, it'll be easier for them to people search it, and it just shows like a level of
it's a level of professionalism. It's ownership, and it's that polish on the project.
Yeah. So what would you say? Okay, so they've built a website, they've filmed and edited their project. What other ways, if they're not putting their project in a festival, or even if they are, what are other ways they can get eyes on their project? What are marketing tools they can use that they can either do themselves or not have to pay for a huge marketing budget?
There's so many tools out there now, but the easiest ones, of course, are the free social media marketing channels. So you can have your Facebook page, you can have your Instagram channel, you can have your TikTok channel, you can have a LinkedIn group to talk about your project. Like maybe there's a subject matter. Maybe there's a subject matter that's the primary topic of your series, and it's a great place to start a discussion with other people, that are interested in that topic.
Right.
And so it's not necessarily about your film, but you're capturing an audience that's interested in the same. So they work together, and you can eventually market to them if you're not trying to oversell in a group environment.
Or if you just say, "Hey, watch my."
Like,
especially because something like where we're placing our show, nobody's having to pay to see it. You're not having to pay to stream it. It's going to be free on YouTube and TikTok. So when we're marketing it, it's just a matter of just all we need to do is click and watch.
Yeah, so we like to use all the social media channels that you have available, that your audience is there. You don't need to spend money on channels where your audience isn't. But if they're there, then tease them and bring them back to your website. So we always call the website the mothership. And if you think of it that way, you want to drive all your traffic to one place, because that's where you can have your core offerings, like your call to action. If you're giving away a web series, are you selling something else? Sometimes you might have merchandise, swag. There might be some screening opportunities, like, hey, we're going to screen at this theater, come and be part of our audience, or whatever type of engagement that you have with your community, you can use that as your landing page.
So would you suggest then for the actual page to also have the URL link to, since it is a free to be seen web series, the YouTube URL link being over there in the website, we'll send them back. You'll still get the traffic on the YouTube, but you just put the links in the website.
Yeah, you can embed the videos in the website.
And they're still getting your YouTube viewage, even if the video is embedded, correct?
So I believe so.
I think they are.
Yeah, and what's nice about that is that you're controlling the environment.
Right.
If you send them to YouTube, you're putting them in the YouTube environment, which you can have some control over, but there's a lot of integrated advertising and other things happening, which might be to your benefit at some point, because you could be monetizing your channel if you're getting a lot of views. So there could be a strategy where you're actually driving more of your customers there.
That's interesting. I think that's something that we'll have to look into, because I did think of putting the URL into where they click it, they pop over to YouTube. That way you monetize. But I'm wondering if you're watching it embedded in the website instead of popping them into YouTube, if you're still getting the same credit for the view. And if that's the case, then all your videos could just pop to your next video, which you can do in YouTube as well.
You can do a nice...
However, YouTube also feeds other stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure when you load your videos into YouTube that you click, there's a little form that you go through as you're doing it, and at the end there is something that says
related videos,
yeah. And you feed them to your next video.
Yeah. So and if you do a playlist also, that's a great way to keep all of the videos in a series grouped together.
Right.
So that you're not getting the related content
that's not yours.
That YouTube wants you to show. Yeah.
So fortunately or unfortunately, we named this series C'est La Vie. And then, we didn't think anything of it. And then we really started looking online, and there's so much out there that says C'est La Vie.
Yeah.
And it's a little troublesome. So our website is C'est La Vie the series,
which is a good way to help that challenge, And
right.
That's the same reason why they would put movie at the end of a URL for a major studio.
Right. So we did do that, and our YouTube is called C'est La Vie the series. We have Vinci, but C'est La Vie has its own, and that's where we'll put these. We won't put these on Vinci at this time until we see how it goes on C'est La Vie. And then, so I don't know if we want to change the name of the show to C'est La Vie the series, but it's called C'est La Vie. But there's a lot out there. And so I don't even think you could get C'estLaVie.com. I don't really think that's...
Probably not. It is hard to get those type of URLs, but you're actually adding a specific keyword phrase that is more relevant to your product. So it's actually, even though it makes it longer and it's not as sexy, it's actually going to benefit you in the long run to have that.
Oh, good. That's good.
Because you can optimize for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. And that's something, I guess, that when you're on the social media channels with your Instagram and TikTok and all of that, at that point, do you recommend paid advertising or paid clicks, or for somebody to get their product seen?
I do in the beginning, especially because if you just purchased a URL, it's going to take a long time for it to organically show up on page 1 of Google.
Yeah.
And unless somebody's typing in a very specific thing like
C'est La Vie
the series, it might take people a longer time to see it in the search results. So basically, if it's not coming up on page 1, probably not going to see it.
Yeah, not a lot of people go beyond those pages.
Right.
I've learned to go beyond
It's gotten longer now.
Yeah.
They're having a scrolling results now. So it used to be 10. Now there's quite a few things that are page 1. Mm-hmm. I think it's a marketing tactic that Google sort of rolled out. But you can actually, if you're using pay-per-click and you're purchasing your brand name when you're a brand new brand, then it can allow you to get the exposure and the awareness that you need for your brand. So a lot of time marketing initially starts with raising awareness. So if you're in Facebook and you're trying to run your own ads and you see there's a couple different types you can choose from, and one of them is, it's for brand awareness, and you might think, well, I don't want to pay for people to just come to my site. I want them to buy something. So depending on what you want them to do, raising awareness of your brand actually takes... It used to be like 3 to 5 exposures. I think it's increased now to like 7 to 10 times they need to see that before it clicks and then registers.
Oh.
So you really have to be constantly posting if you're going to use those channels, and that puts your brand and your project, front of mind at that point.
Right.
They've seen it.
And so if you're constantly posting, like now Instagram is mainly ads, unless the people you're following, it's really frustrating. Yeah. But I also think that before it was mainly ads, really, I didn't see a lot of content that wasn't the people I was following anyway. So I was always like, well, I could start an Instagram page and put this stuff out there, but now I need to find people to follow me.
Exactly.
I need to ask people to follow me.
So the brand awareness campaigns are usually designed to increase your followers. And unless you have followers...
And is that like just an ad that comes up as people are scrolling? The brand awareness. Okay.
Yeah, and if you don't have followers or a substantial number of followers, then you don't want to put a lot of effort into the channel initially. So we've worked with a lot of startups that for this type of property, or even just a brand new business or a nonprofit, and the raising awareness is really important initially, because you don't want to spend all your resources creating assets that get pushed out to social media and then like 10 people saw it, you know, and then you've already used it. So you don't want to repost it too much later. You can repost and reuse things over time, if you're not like doing it where it's the same thing over and over and over again. So we have repurposed, content that was developed early on to raise awareness, because by the time you go back to it, you have a whole new audience that you've established.
Right. With the brand awareness, then when you're in the back of Instagram and you've got a post and it says boost this post, then you're going to pick that you want brand awareness, because I do believe there's categories, right, for what you're trying to do. And how often would you suggest, so what I'm thinking is, okay, so we've got a series, but we don't want to just keep, like, if nobody's seeing the series, like you said, I can't keep pushing.
Yeah, and if you start your first one, and then what's your cadence? Like, are you going to roll one out every month? So this is one a week. And so that's only 7 days to market the next one. So before you release this property, you want to establish your audience. Like, you want to have a lot of brand awareness before you even start the first one, because, you don't want them to miss. They can always go back and watch, right? Because it's still going to be available. So even if they're a late joiner to your brand, they can go back and watch. But it's it's a snowballing thing. But you want to have as many people on board ahead of time. So how do you tease that? And that's what you can use your social media channels for. So you're going to have some very funny either outtakes or clips that you can use as like mini teaser clips to get people interested in the channel and get them subscribed, so that they're notified when new content's posted, so they know, like, they can be the first to know. Have an email marketing list. Email marketing is still a viable method.
Really?
Absolutely. So especially for something like this, where you have a launch date potentially, and you want people to be aware. Email's just one more way to raise awareness. And when you have when you have an established email list of people who have opted in on their own, they've agreed that they want you to communicate with them. This is like valuable data in terms of who is this person and what are they like. So those emails can be used to create lookalike audiences in other platforms, so that you can expand your reach to other like-minded people. So establishing that initial list is really important.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit easier on products, because, so for instance, my husband has another business, and that business, on that website, people can opt into our email list. But even before, it's a specific service and product that people are going to Google and find. Whereas this is not, people aren't just Googling to try and find a web series. You know what I mean? So this is a little bit different to how do we build people who want to hear about the web series. I think it's
very similar actually to a product, because people look for content all the time on the internet. So you can treat it like a product.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, because, I mean, by the time people hear this and see this, we'll have been beyond that. But actually right now, while we're recording this, we are starting our brand awareness. So that when all the editing's done of all of these, so it's not like you just do this and release it the next day.
Right.
I mean, I suppose we could, If it was just audio, it'd be easier
Yeah.
to get out quicker. But with audio and video, it's a little more work. But even so, these aren't going to go out until the series itself goes out anyways. So I don't know though. We called this one of the later episodes, but it being marketing, we might push it up to one of the early episodes when it actually drops, because of the fact that maybe we want people to know what they're going to need to do to be prepared to, get their product, their art, their whatever. I mean, out there. But so we are working on that now, and we're just setting up new channels specifically for the show, whereas we already had the website for it. But all of our previous social media has been under my production company, which produced this, Vinci. However, the show needs its own.
Right.
So
you're starting from ground zero.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's very important when you establish those channels. There's a few things that you can do to help tie them all together, and that's finding a handle that is consistent across all the platforms. So like for my company, it's 5D Spectrum. So at 5D Spectrum on Instagram, /5D Spectrum on Facebook, /5D Spectrum on LinkedIn. YouTube, we didn't get so lucky. But that's what your goal would be as starting out. So adding the series might make it a little long. There's a few platforms that are restricted in how many characters you can have. So, you might run into some problems, but trying to have that consistency across the board, and then branding all those channels consistently. So every channel except Instagram has channel art where you can show a graphic. So if you have some, your movie poster concept or key art,
we have
series,
our
logo.
Key logo with the it's got an Eiffel Tower and stuff in it. So we have that key piece, and that when we purchased and made the website C'estLaVie, at that point we set up a C'est La Vie the series, but it might say C'est La Vie sitcom, so I might have to look into this and make sure it's all branded the same. But we did a Gmail, and when you do a Gmail, you automatically get a YouTube to that Gmail.
Right.
Like you can hook to that YouTube. So I'll have to check and
then
make sure it's all the same.
And then you get to choose the name of your channel. So that's where you want to choose wisely.
Right.
Some of the platforms allow you to change the name once. Some of them don't care and you can change it.
I think YouTube lets you change it once, but I believe Instagram you can change it all you want, as long as you're not doing another name that somebody else has.
Right.
I see people changing their name all the time. I don't know.
Yeah,
the Instagram has that little, the problem is that picture's tiny.
Yeah.
So when you put the logo in there, it kind of disappears.
Yeah. So a lot of times because we also create branding for products and companies and movies.
Right.
But when we do a brand toolkit, we'll always create an icon version of the logo because social media needs it. So if you can get that simplified version of your logo to become identifiable to your brand, that's actually helpful as well, because if your logo's too small and it's not legible, it's not going to do anybody any good.
Yeah, and even when you because C'est La Vie is so long, even when you make it, so maybe we need something that's CLV or something, or we'll have to see. Because
icon,
well, what do you mean by an icon?
Like a graphic.
A graphic.
Yeah, a graphic representation of your brand.
Maybe. We currently have a few things that we work with, but I feel like they just aren't going to play in that little. And actually, I was just setting up a new Instagram last night, and I was like, what am I putting in this picture spot? I don't think this logo is going to work.
And it's important because when you get people who are excited about your brand and they're looking and they see that, they can see where, this is where C'est La Vie has posted. This is official. This is from them. So it makes it so easy to follow. Right.
That's good. That's good. Good information for people.
So same handle if you can get it.
Right.
Same icon across the board. Same color palettes if you can choose. If they'll let you choose. And then your hero image, whatever that is, should be consistent. And all those platforms have templates or recommended sizes. And then the other thing that people don't do, because no one reads the fine print, right? But if you're on Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, they all have guidelines for what size of graphic you should create.
Right.
And if you don't follow the specifics, you actually can fall outside of their algorithms. So you could hurt yourself by just randomly posting odd sizes on Facebook or Instagram. So you need to follow their guidelines. If they want 1080 by 1080 for the post, that's the size that you create.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's
I do know that
one last step.
When we did our Vinci logo, we had a social media kit made. And so I do know that that has specific sizes and stuff. But, the person who made my C'est La Vie logo made it, I believe, in Adobe. It's a friend of mine, a director who is part of this project, and I'll have to check and see. And the other day I was actually trying to make the PNG have more pixels through Canva Pro, and I was struggling, even though I've made other pictures, be able to do it. And so it's like interesting. PNGs are harder than JPEGs when you go into Canva.
Yeah,
you can export to a PNG, no problem, but when you put one in, it's harder to manipulate. But I know you can increase the size and pixels in Canva Pro at times, but not always.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't used Canva. So.
I mean, I suppose it'd probably be better if I was in Adobe or something, if I was in Photoshop. or
I mean, that's a professional tool. Canva's great because, a lot of people are using it that don't have the access to the whole Adobe suite.
Right.
And there's a lot of new tools popping up too. We're using Affinity now and testing out some new tools that they just put out, which is a one-time license fee, like the way Adobe used to be.
Yeah.
And you buy it once and use it forever. So free updates. So we're trying some of those out because as a studio, we don't need everybody to have the full Adobe suite. Like there's only a few of us who utilize some of the tools. And most of us only use the main ones like Photoshop, Illustrator.
Right.
Some of us use the video editing
Premiere Pro
and other things too.
I think with those two, you could feasibly, if you're smaller and you're doing some projects, you could feasibly turn them on for a month or two and then turn them off and then turn them back on. And there's plenty of people out there. And they've got to know everybody's doing that on every platform at this point because it's
just
become...
like streaming channels, right?
Yeah. Turn them off when you don't want to watch them. Turn them back on when you want to watch them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really not a problem with that. They set up their system. I mean,
yeah,
it's sort of...
I think a lot of subscription-based companies are becoming savvy to that, and they're actually allowing what they're calling a pause my account mode.
Right.
Because they know people are doing that anyways. So rather than having people stop and start and stop and start, it's just easier to say, okay, we're going to let you pause.
Hulu lets you pause, I think. I think it's funny, though, that they didn't consider this when they started subscription-based stuff. Like, that's one of the things I would have thought of immediately was like, but when I don't need it, why wouldn't I just shut it off? Yeah. That's interesting. So besides social media, you feel like email marketing is a really good...
Email marketing is still a really good channel. And, it depends on your market.
Right.
Every client's different, but there might be opportunity for... some kind of direct mail advertising. It just depends on who you're going after.
Yeah. And I would say in this genre, like in our other business, we can go to like these events. There's events for
like your film
what
festivals,
we do.
Right?
So that's what film festivals
Yeah.
are. You could get your film into a film festival, but even if it's not in a film festival, you can go.
Right.
You can go and network.
Right.
And market. Bring your postcards. Bring your information. Talk up your piece. If you could pitch a piece, pitch it to people and see if you can get people on board.
Yeah. And, always look for speaking opportunities, panel opportunities. You have an expertise, right? You're creating something.
Right.
So, you can share that knowledge, become that, thought leader in development.
It's interesting because I've spoken on panels before at film festivals where I've had films that were entered and got in. But And I've made commercials for other companies. And part of our strategy with them was, even though we're not a marketer, when we make commercials, we're talking to them about ways to get places they can put the commercials, things they can do. And we always tell them to contact like your local, what's the word I'm looking for? Chamber of Commerce, these things. Find places where you can start talking to people.
Yeah.
Because even in your Chamber of Commerce, you can get up and do your little 20-second elevator pitch. But then from there, you often meet people who have other speaking opportunities or whatever. But I don't know, per se, with film, where else you speak besides film festivals, unless you can manage to get a film school or an acting school or something to bring you in and let you talk about how to do it.
Yeah, I think you could look at other types of organizations. Like there are marketing organizations out there, and especially if you have a challenging project and you had to do something different, like the project that KT and I worked on had its challenges, right? So it's actually a great story now to talk about. So if you can, find that kind of organization, love the schools, but even just creating some conversation or some speaking talk about, you have a theme. Your web series is themed, right?
Yes.
So there's something there that's worth talking about, and this is kind of like the icing on the cake, right?
Right.
So
right. Exactly.
So you could go off into sort of a tangent and have it be a supporting element.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I also think that there's opportunities for women-led groups for you to go into areas where it's like we're women leaders in business or we're women entrepreneurs or whatever. And if you can maybe find, hey, I've got a great story of how I did this project or I'd love to come speak.
There's a lot of support out there for women-led products and projects.
Right. And speaking of one, you helped us connect with one that was very relevant to our show.
Yeah.
So there's a company called Exo Jackie, and they were gracious enough to give us a little budget towards our shoot, which we graciously fed people with. That budget money went directly to food purchase, to feeding people, basically probably at least 5 days on set.
Yeah.
But we also had the products. I haven't shown you. I sent her some screenshots of them in an episode recently.
I think I saw something on Instagram.
Yeah, and then, but we have more will go up. Mm-hmm. But that's another way I'm trying to find a way to brand it, and that's why I got to get C'est La Vie's Instagram up, because what I want to do is invite collaborators and connect and really get it going from. But I know when you post something with someone else, you can now collaborate with them, which is a great way to have their audience see what you're posting.
Yeah, and this brand was such a perfect match for your product.
It literally is about what.
And it's a great product. I use the product.
That's awesome. See, and I feel like the one thing that our show is about is that it's about the idea that there should be more help for women out there, and that people should listen more to what is happening, because there's been not a lot of dialogue until recently.
Right.
So I think about Exo Jackie and how she created this product, but think about it 20 years ago, nobody talked about it.
Right.
So I think about even the group
taboo,
before
right?
this group, I think, because think about, I've heard Sofia Vergara talk about it. I heard, who's the Australian actress that said she went into menopause early? She was perimenopausal in her late 30s and was afraid she wasn't going to have kids, and she did. There's now Halle Berry has gone to Congress to speak on the fact that there's not enough care for older women in menopause, because she's in menopause, and she's been on social media screaming, yes, I am in menopause. And I know that when I first started, shortly after writing the pilot and stuff to the original series for this that's to come, the full series, not just a short web series, I know that Courtney Cox had done a tampon commercial when she was younger, and so she did a parody of it as going into menopause versus the tampon commercial. And you
Very
can find
funny.
it on
That's
her
very
on her
funny.
TikTok and her Instagram. And so people started really talking about it, but I started thinking about it and I thought, wow, never heard Helen Mirren talk about it. We never heard Meryl Streep talk about it. We never, nothing against them, but their generation, the boomers, were not going to speak about menopause. They were going to act as if it was not happening. They were not going to let anybody know.
And I think people our age were taught to think that we're not really supposed to talk about that either.
I don't know. I'm Gen X, and I know from being Gen X that my sisters are boomers, and I'm very different than them. And this is weird. Raised in the same household,
Yeah.
there's a little gap in us. And I do know that my generation, well, I'll tell you, my dad raised us differently. I feel like my dad kind of raised all of them to get married. And really, those words never came out of his mouth with me.
Wow.
It was like, you should go to college. What college are you going to go to? Completely. And this is from a man who raised boomers. So it's very weird to me that it changed. But I feel like I was the first generation to go to college to do whatever I wanted, but then no real guidance on how to make that happen. We're often
We're
called
on
the
our
lost
own.
generation, the
We
tweeners. Yes. And
Yes.
it was a hard, I feel like we were a scrappy 80s bunch of kids that like, it was tough.
We knew how to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because really kids in the 70s, teens in the 80s, and yeah, I would say Gen Xers, we are so much more survivors than the millennials
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, millennials and Gen Zers, but especially millennials cannot handle a confrontation. Like,
It's
if
true.
you get mad at me, I'm okay. Like, it's not pleasant, but I understand if you don't like something that I like. They have a real hard time if you tell them you don't dislike something. I find it when you're in a store and you're trying to tell them, no, I did this and I feel like I should get a refund. So I feel like our generation was a little scrappier. And I know Meryl Streep and all that generation's still boomers.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I feel like our generation, what is the loud
We broke
one?
the barrier.
I think we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I think we did, but we're not given any form of credit for that.
Not yet.
No, yeah. I mean, and we held the line of feminism, whereas they've been worried about the later generations letting go of feminism.
Yeah.
So I do think that I think that we're a generation that isn't afraid to talk.
Absolutely. We're warriors.
Yeah, from my experience, we are the punk rock generation.
Yeah.
Like, who's punk? It's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
Who are you?
I am.
So, I mean, we kind of went out there and balls to the wall, So I think that that's why this generation's talking about it a lot. And not saying that everybody, there's a muddiness. There's boomers talking about it. But in general, I'm noticing like this kind of divide between the styles of how things are handled.
I never noticed that, but I think you're right.
Yeah. I really started contemplating why all of a sudden when I started talking about menopause and wanting to write this show because it was affecting me and nobody knew, my doctor didn't know a darn thing, and she's a female younger than me, and all this stuff, I started going, where are all the people talking about it? Started calling up my boomer family members, and they really had no advice for me. A lot of them were of an age where they automatically were given hormones, then it was taken away. Then there was this whole divide of people not having hormones, and then I fall into the category of that's really the only thing that's been helping me is hormone replacement
and that
therapy.
is true, I think, of a lot of women too. And
so there's all kinds of great products and things out there. I heard there's a new product for hot flashes. I'm already on HRT and I'm happy with it, so I'm not going to give it a shot. But there's a lot of products out there that I believe are very, very good for women, and also just in general healthy for you because they might have some.
And I'm like on the opposite end of you. I'm holding out. I'm not doing any type of hormone replacement therapy. I love the Exo Jackie product. It helps with the hot flashes, and I'm just going with the natural. And my aunt, who was a boomer, I kind of followed her footsteps. I did actually talk to her at one point, and she did tell me, "Oh no, I didn't do anything like that." And I felt like my mom couldn't really guide me because she had to have a full hysterectomy when she was young.
That's what I found. So not only did my mom, but my oldest sisters, my oldest cousins, every boomer I reached out to had a hysterectomy.
That's insane.
It was very common. It was very common.
Yeah.
So if you were born in the 50s or earlier, often by the time you got to a certain age, you were having a hysterectomy. And they were given hormones during that hysterectomy, to be fair.
Yeah.
They were given a hormone replacement therapy.
Right.
And they discovered now that the hormone replacement therapy now is not what the studies were studied. The study was bad. It was done with a different type of hormone. It was done with no progesterone, balancing
they're
the
much
estrogen.
better now.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole different situation going on now. It's a patch, not a pill. It's a number of things. But there was nothing that was going to help me. So there was no going, oh, natural. I literally was in hell every day. And I can't even describe it. It wasn't just physical, it was mental.
Yeah.
So I was struggling to get out of bed. I was struggling to face the day. I was having an hour-long talk with myself every morning on how everything that was happening to me was fine, that I was fine, and that the anxiety was just because my hormones were gone. And so I just didn't want to continue to do that. I wanted somebody to give me help. So I still have a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't.
You need your energy.
Yeah. I was like, I can't every day just not be able to get out of bed. So, and it was hard because I'm just a really strong person. So I would get out of bed, never stayed there. But a whole time I'm having this inner monologue convincing me to move forward.
Yeah.
And then all the while feeling flushed, hot, sweaty, often fatigued, often nauseous, a lot of stuff going on.
So you got them all.
I did. That's how my pregnancies worked. Just so you know, it's like every...
And I had the easiest... I was like, I'm not pregnant up until the night before I was going into labor. I'm like, oh, shit.
That's funny. My pregnancies were easy in terms of... But at the beginning, literally, I went through this rampant... Every little symptom that showed up in a book, I had it. But the one thing I did have was with the morning sickness, I never actually got sick. I would just feel like I'd been on a boat.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Never had any of that.
Yeah. But the pregnancy itself was actually, I had a lot of energy. I was fine. I didn't mind carrying the babies. It was okay. I felt good. I was fine. But yeah, no. But I'm one of those people with the crazy periods and all that stuff. So it's no wonder when the menopause came, it was like, whoosh.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine?
It was like falling off a cliff.
At all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd literally be I was sitting somewhere in a restaurant with somebody, and I was talking to her, and I forget what she did, but she said, "You look a little red." And I said, "Yeah, I'm feeling hot." And I put my hair up, and she said, "How hot are you?" And I took her hand and I put it on my thigh, and she through my jeans. She went, "Oh my God." And I went, "That's my life
Hot
right
flash.
now." And it was so bad. It would start at my toes and rush up to my head.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really bad. And I can't tell you the miracle hormones were within less than the next morning after I started them, I literally had a clear head. I no longer was
That's amazing.
full of anxiety. I know. The hot flashes took longer to get rid of. And listen, not everybody, it's not for everybody. So I'm not saying my way is everyone's way.
I think we've just proven it's like this whole gamut.
It's a
right?
spectrum.
It is
Everything's a spectrum.
and it's different for everybody.
And I don't mind sharing my story, and I'm really passionate about my story. So I don't want anybody to mistake the fact that I realize that there is a gamut of people. There's a lot of people who actually aren't a candidate for hormone replacement because of certain
Other
conditions
reasons,
in their family or things that they've gone through. And so that's why I'm happy that there's somebody like Exo Jackie trying to move forward on the woman's front to help people. And that's why we're willing to put it in a show where basically the lead character is hell-bent to get her hormones fixed. But, we still appreciate the fact that
there's other solutions for other people. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And just in talking to Jackie and emailing, I know that she's got a heart
Oh,
and when you do something with your heart,
she uses her own product, and she looks great.
There you go. There you go. So
she's her own best spokeswoman. So,
yeah. That's awesome. Well, any highlights from the shoot? You were here.
I was here.
You were here. You produced on the shoot.
Yeah, we actually, it was
AD'd on the shoot. You were here. So
it had been a long time since I was involved in a video production. I did produce my own music video a very long time ago, but it was completely unprofessional and unorganized. Unlike you ladies came in with all your ducks in a row and your schedules, and I think we did not slip on our schedule the whole time. I didn't see anything really crazy going on. There were, I know, a few frustrating moments here and there, but everything worked out, and it was really fun. And watching, the scenes and the actors, and what a great cast. Like, you did a phenomenal job with the casting, and it was really fun to participate and just be here to support whatever you needed.
Well, we were so happy to have you. You really helped us a lot. So
thank you. It was so much fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you again.
Yeah.
For whatever you want to come down.
Absolutely.
You're invited. And whatever we're here to. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to collaborate. This is a collaborative art, so I can't do it myself. And nobody can do it themselves, so I'm here to help whoever needs help from me, and whoever wants to come on my project can come on my project. That's what we're here for.
Very good.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this. I thank you so much.
It's a wrap. You are welcome.
It's a wrap.
It was so fun.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.